Good morning. We gather in this sacred space, made more sacred by the presence and attention of each and every one of us. My name is Sam Wilson, and I'm the Director of Youth and Children's Ministries. Today is Youth Sunday, so the service will be led by Jussie G, our junior youth group, and Wussy G, our high school youth group. Yay! Today, we especially welcome our neighboring faiths students who will be staying for the entire worship to see what they'll be doing soon enough. Wherever you are streaming from this morning, live streaming friends, we are so glad you're here. Friends in the pews, let's take a moment and wave at the camera near the welcoming congregation banner to send our greeting to those at home. Now, let's take a moment to turn and greet one another.
Welcome to WUS and welcome to Youth Sunday. My name is Giorgio Cantoni and I'm a member of Wussy G. Our progressive faith calls us to be radically inclusive, which means offering a seat and a smile and a hug with consent to everyone who joins us here today to worship, in person and online, regardless of your race, country of origin, documentation, sexual or romantic orientation, gender identity, physical ability, income, education, or your age. You're all welcome, and we are grateful for you having joined us today. Especially for today's youth-led service, we want everyone to know that your wiggles and giggles are all welcome here. And unless you are using the app to donate or taking pictures, we do ask you to please put your phone in worship mode at this time. If you're one of my buddies from RE, hi. We hope that you found your cat ears and other animal ears. Can you all give us your best animal impressions, please? Thank you. I love it. New folks of all ages should know that you are always welcome to grab animal ears, pew packs, and chalice embroidery kits from the RE table right as you walk in from the foyer to keep your fingers busy during the service. After worship, all are invited to coffee and conversation in the Sims room at the back of the sanctuary. There will be a celebratory cake in recognition of those who have become new members of Winchester Unitarian Society today, and cupcakes to celebrate our seniors. After some refreshments, Wussy G and Jussie Gers should go outside for their barbecue. A light meal would be provided in the Sims room for those who are staying for the annual meeting, which will begin at 12:30. The meeting will be for those. The meeting will be live streamed at the same link as today's service. Members of the society may vote, however, there is no remote voting option. Childcare is available from 12 to 2. Please find them in the playground at back or in Metcalf if it's raining. Reverend Heather has some news to share with us, and after, we will hear a special announcement from the interim search committee.
Thank you, Giorgio. I just wanted to share that I heard some sad news yesterday that longtime member Marty Kennedy has passed away. His family will be having a memorial service in September, and in the meantime, I just hope that we hold Emmy, Miles, and Ellen in our hearts and prepare to celebrate his life in the beginning of the fall. Thank you. I will be lighting a candle for him at the candle lighting time.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Richardson, representing the Interim Minister Search Committee. Other members of the committee are Sarah Milt, Patty Cameron, and Tricia McDowell, as well as Woody Wood, who is out of town but with us in spirit. Today, you're going to hear a lot about transitions. Among the many transitions in our life as a church is the departure at the end of next month of our beloved minister, Heather. We're sad to see her go, and we wish her well. The process of selecting a settled UU minister is a fairly long one as we decide together what we'd like our future to look like. In the interim, we have a minister who is trained to lead congregations through this process. The search committee enthusiastically recommended and the standing committee heartily approved naming the Reverend Seth Carrier-Ladd to be our interim minister. Currently, he is the interim minister at First Parish in Concord. He will begin here August 1, and we expect that he will stay for 2 years until the congregation selects a new minister. We look forward to telling you more about him. Please stay for a few minutes after annual meeting for a more detailed introduction, or look for the special email that we hope to send early this week. When we were interviewing candidates, we asked them why they applied to come here, and we learned that we have a reputation of a vibrant church that is doing great things. So thank you for your part in helping to attract applications from multiple highly qualified ministers. Thank you.
Now, let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship.
Here we have come into this sacred space, quieter now with our readiness, hushed voices, hoping, trusting for so many things, for connection, for communion, for inspiration, for information, for healing, for wholeness, for words, for music, for celebration and consolation. Here we have come into this place bringing all of who we are. Let us be willing, however we are changed.
We call forth the life of our faith by igniting our chalice. This spark of new beginnings invites us into a sacred space to reflect on where we have been and where we are going. Even knowing that this particular flame will intentionally end with our ritual extinguishing, we fear not its end. For we know with brave hearts that from every ending of our lives, we are sent forth to make a new beginning. Please rise in body or rise in spirit to join in singing hymn number 360 in the gray hymnal, Here We Have Gathered. As we sing, we invite those signing the membership book to do so at this time.
Today is a special day. By signing the membership book during the opening hymn, and some signing previously, a lucky 13 among us have joined the Winchester Unitarian Society.
It is my joy to introduce Giorgio Cantoni, Rebecca Kelly, Stephen Kent, Mike Lambert, Tricia McDowell, Hannah McCune, Brett Mulder, Luna Mulder, Lori Russell, Dan Spencer, Lisa Spencer. Ariana Blaine and Beth Richardson are also new members, but were unable to join us today.
Can we advance the slides to show their beautiful faces on the screen and in the live stream? And let's move to the next one. Welcome. We hope all of you will take some time and read the biographies of our newest members included in your order of service. We also asked our new members about their spiritual lives and values. What we learned suggests that these new members are very similar to the kinds of people who have constituted the Winchester Unitarian Society for generations. Here are just a few of their responses. My purpose here on this earth is to love all people and to accept their love in return. For me, music is an expression of the soul, understood by all, no spoken language required. When I connect with nature, I feel whole. Living a life that embodies an ethic of caring and love is very important to me. My spirituality is deeply informed by my meditation practice and mystical experiences that I regularly cultivate. I am moved by acts of forgiveness, transformation, love, and sacrifice. Caring for the most vulnerable in society is very important to me. I want to keep learning, growing, and challenging myself. I want my kids to be exposed to spiritual values without the religious dogma.
We celebrate that by finding your spiritual home in this congregation and becoming members, you offer your presence, your commitment, and your many gifts to this community and the values that call us together. Welcome. New members, please join me in reading the new member affirmation. As new members, we accept the gifts, responsibilities,
Will the congregation please rise in body or in spirit and read in unison the congregational affirmation? The words are printed in your order of service and will be on the screen. We welcome you with anticipation and joy. We hope you find here room to flourish in mind, body, and spirit. We pledge you into our community as companions in the spiritual journey. We pledge to rejoice with you in times of happiness, to grieve with you in times of sorrow, and to share with you all the blessings of our free faith. Please be seated. I now invite our newest members to return to their seats, and for those who are young at heart to come forward for the first reflection.
Our first reflection is from a book called The End is Just the Beginning.
The end. Oh, sorry.
That's right, you heard it correctly. You've reached the end and the beginning.
But wait, how can something possibly start with the end? That's ridiculous. Well, prepare to have your mind blown, because the end isn't really the end. It's just the beginning of something else.
like a beautiful sunset. That sure seems like the end of the day, right? Not so fast. You see, when the sun goes down, it's actually just the beginning of the night.
When all the snow melts at the end of winter, that means it's the beginning of spring.
And if you try to go to the ends of the earth, you'll actually just keep going back to the beginning, because the earth is just one big circle.
If you blast off in a rocket ship, you'll reach the end of the sky, otherwise known as the beginning of outer space.
And when you count, the end of one number is just the beginning of the next number, and so on, all the way to infinity, which, by the way, never ends.
Even a sign that literally says dead end isn't an end at all. It's only just the beginning of whatever lies beyond it. So, when you really think about it, the end is entirely endless.
The end of a disagreement with someone is just the beginning of making up.
The end of a mistake is just the beginning of learning something new.
The end of being sick is just the beginning of feeling better.
The end of dinner is just the beginning of dessert. And if you're really well behaved, the end of dessert might just be the beginning of more dessert.
So tonight, when you turn off your lights and go to bed, don't think of it as the end of anything. Just think of it as the beginning of a new tomorrow full of possibilities.
The beginning of discovering the next book.
At this time, the neighboring faith students will stay here, but we will sing our spirit-played children out to their classrooms with the words found in your orders of service.
May the light within shine before you every day, every day. May the light within you shine before you.
We come now to the centering time in the service, settling in body and in spirit, first through words and then ritual, kindling of the light, a time to light a candle of personal joy, sorrow, or concern, either here at the candle table or at home. At that time, if you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand.
After we kindle the light, we will be together in a time of shared silence, out of which we will hear our first senior statement. We begin with this poem by Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt, also known as the Velveteen Rabbi. You'll need to travel light. Take what you can carry, a book, a poem, a battered tin cup, your child strapped to your chest, clutching your necklace in one hot, possessive fist.
So the dough isn't ready. So your heart isn't ready. You haven't said goodbye to the places where you hid as a child, to the friends who aren't interested in the journey, to the graves you've tended.
But if you wait until you feel fully ready, you may never take the leap at all. And infinity is calling you forth out of this birth canal and into the future's wide expanse.
Learn to improvise flat cakes without yeast. Learn to read new alphabets. Wear God like a cloak, and stride forth with confidence. You won't know where you're going.
But you have the words of our sages, the songs of our mothers, the inspiration wrapped in your kneading bowl. Trust that what you carry will sustain you, and take the first step out the door. Let us now kindle the light.
Hi, my name is Larkin. I am a senior in WCG. I have been Unitarian Universalist my whole life. If you are familiar with religious education and Unitarian Universalism, you know that about the age you do OWL, some churches will make you do coming of age. For coming of age, you're required to write a speech and read it to the congregation, a lot like this one, and then they welcome you into the high school youth group. When I was younger, my parents had to drag me to church every morning. I hated the idea of having to wake up early and sit in a classroom on my day off of school. I grew to dread coming to church all throughout elementary and middle school. Finally, after going through years of religious education, I was in 8th grade and it was time to write my coming of age speech. When I was in 8th grade, I would have written my speech about my Unitarian Universalist summer camp, Ferry Beach. I know some of you are probably familiar. Ferry Beach was kind of the only positive connection I had to Unitarian Universalism. Ultimately, I was never able to deliver that speech due to COVID, so this is something I've been putting off for 4 years. During COVID, I didn't go to any sort of youth group or church event, and I had basically lost all ties with Unitarian Universalism, although I did miss my camp immensely. Coming out of COVID, I had no plans of joining youth group or going to church on Sunday mornings, and for my first year of high school, I didn't. However, I did get to return to my UU camp, Ferry Beach. After a couple of years of being away from Unitarian Universalism, returning to a loving and accepting community was what I needed. At this camp, I happened to have a counselor that was the youth group leader for a UU church nearby. Sam, if you didn't get to that. He suggested I come join the youth group with CG. From the start, I immediately loved it. The people were so welcoming and easy to be around, and there was never a dull moment. I started attending every meeting I could and every trip I could. WCG gives me the same feeling I felt attending my summer camp. These people have become my best friends. No matter where I am or what I'm going through, I can always count on the fact that my fellow WCG members will be by my side supporting me. A couple of years ago, I figured out that public school was not for me and I needed to make a big change. I decided to switch to online school and go to a full tennis academy, even with the fact that I'm not that good at tennis, but I was like, I needed something to do. Although this was definitely the right choice, it exposed me to a new group of people who had definitely had a very different belief system than I did. A little more hateful, given, just for a lack of a better term. Even though I spent my school week surrounded by very non-UU values, every Sunday I was reminded what it meant to be Unitarian Universalism. It was nice to have a safe place where I was surrounded by like-minded people that shared the same values that I did. I plan to continue to bring love and acceptance shown to me to college and beyond. And I hope all the underclassmen continue to make this group what it was for me. This group changed my life for so much better, and I'm devastated to be leaving it, plus my underclassmen. But this end is just the start of a very exciting new beginning.
Hi, my name is Isaac Kamakawa, and I'm a senior in WCG, and I've been a member of WCG for the past 2 years. Today, we're here to celebrate the end, so I might as well start at the beginning. When I was young, my life was pretty standard. I was in elementary school, had plenty of friends, and did all the things a typical kid that age would do. But going into middle school is where things got a bit rough. I had just gotten diagnosed with ADHD and dyslexia, so when the time came that grades started to matter a bit more, I started to struggle. I still had a good friend group to support me, but the academic side was pretty rough. But I was able to persevere with many Ds along the way. But going into high school was when things really took a turn. It was the peak of the pandemic, so we had the hybrid system, where half of the classes would be over Zoom. That did not work at all for me, and I was barely able to get any work done at home. On top of that, a few of my close friends from middle school ended up going to different high schools, which is pretty rough too. And with it being the pandemic and me not being a very social person, it was pretty difficult for me to make friends. The next year was a bit easier because hybrid was gone and we were at school full time again. I was able to see some of my friends I previously wasn't, and that helped a bit. But classes still weren't getting any easier, and I still got at least one D and I still had at least one class with a D. Junior year was pretty similar as well as senior year, except one big thing changed entering junior year. Backtracking a bit, I've been a part of the Winchester Unitarian Society since I basically moved here, which was when I was 2. In fact, some of my earliest memories were going to church and Sunday school. Like most kids my age, I wasn't very into it and I didn't care for it much. Although I did find Sunday school pretty fun. Over time, I began to be less and less involved with the church, getting to the point where I would only go when my parents forced me to on Easter and Christmas Eve. My parents always really wanted me to join WCG, especially after my older sister had joined it and loved it. I was pretty opposed to it because that just meant spending more time at the church, which I heavily disliked at the time. But eventually the time came, and due to the pandemic, it was over Zoom. I joined the first meeting as a freshman and didn't connect with it at all. I maybe joined 2 or 3 more before stopping going entirely. People always talked about the connections they gained from WCG, and to me, being there through Zoom felt a lot more disconnected, so I never got the point. 2 years later, and lockdowns were finally loosening up a bit, my parents heard there was going to be an in-person WCG barbecue and encouraged me to go. I eventually caved and went, and to my surprise, I kind of enjoyed it. That gave me the push I needed, and I started going to the meetings. I slowly began to like going there more and more until it started becoming the highlight of my week. I finally was able to make new friends who I knew I could rely on if I was struggling in any way with anything. I could finally be myself with no judgment of any kind. I felt like it was a place I truly belonged in. Not only that, but it made me realize how much of the world I had been missing. I've always kept within my tiny bubble of reality, and I never went outside of it in fear of getting hurt. But through WCG, my understanding of the world has become so much more meaningful, and I can see so much more of what it has to offer. I've been to places I would never have gone to in a million years if not for WCG. This past service trip to West Virginia is a great example of this. West Virginia is a place that had never crossed my mind up until how excited people were when hearing we would be going there for a trip. Almost everyone else has already been, so I started to get very curious and excited to see it for myself. Upon hearing West Virginia had one of the highest poverty rates out of any state in the US, I started to get a bit nervous. It was a place so different to what I had been used to, and I wasn't sure what to fully expect and how I'd managed to be there for a week. But through many words of encouragement and stories from other members, I felt like I was finally ready to embark on what I can confidently say now was the best trip of my entire life. First impressions were not great, partly due to the extreme headache after being in a car for 7 hours. I was scared because I was surrounded by people and places I had never seen. But after just a few hours of being there, I started to really appreciate it. And as I learned more and more about it, I was nothing short of thrilled to be there. I learned that it was all about the people and the bonds that held them together. I felt honored to be part of this community and to help out as much as I could, even if it was only for a week. I made some amazing memories during that trip, and was hands down the best experience of my life. I was a very different person before WCG. I was pretty secluded and only lived life through what I saw, never thinking about what it would be like to travel to unfamiliar places or do things I wouldn't do on a normal day. I've learned to be more comfortable with and accept myself and who I am despite being different from everyone else. I've met amazing people and formed friendships that will last a lifetime. A big part of me regrets not going to the Zoom meetings, but for these 2 years I've been a part of this, it's been the best 2 years of my life. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do from here, but it starts with college. I've been lucky enough to find the perfect college for me, and I'm very excited to go there. I have no idea what I'm going to study, but I'm sure I'll figure that out soon. What I do know is that I want to keep helping people. I found so much fulfillment in helping others, and I want that to become a core part of what I do. The last thing I want to do is thank my parents. They have been the people who have been pushing me to keep moving forward and never quit on anything. They pushed me to join WCG despite my protests of doing so. Without them, I would be wandering down an empty path with no idea of how to move forward. And with their help, I at least have a rough plan for the future. While I may not know things for certain, I know that the experiences I made and the support of my friends will guide me through whatever I encounter in the future. One last thanks to everyone in WCG for always sticking with me and being there for me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maddie, and I'm a senior at WCG. Today, I'm beyond grateful for the opportunity we seniors have to reflect on our time shared together, and appreciative of all of you who are here with us to listen. Unlike a lot of the speakers here, I've only been a part of WCG for the past 2 years. Hannah was actually the person who persuaded me to join. She raved about WCG and promised that this was a place where we would make irreplaceable friendships and memories. At first, I was hesitant to join such a tight-knit group and convinced myself I would not fit in with the pre-made cliques or understand inside jokes. But that could not have been further from the truth. To my surprise, I was immediately welcomed with open arms and appreciated for being my authentic self. I quickly discovered that diversity was celebrated here, and I mean it when I say that these are the least judgmental, creative, and caring individuals I've ever met. After sleepovers, fundraisers, and endless games of sardines, I felt that I had found a second family. Meeting with WCG quickly became the highlight of my week I always looked forward to. We have laughed, cried, bonded, worked, and grieved together as a community, and I cannot believe we'll no longer be seeing each other every week. This past year, we went to War, West Virginia on a service trip. We collaborated together and built decks, ramps, and showers alongside the people of McDowell County. I was extremely touched by the individuals that we met and the experiences that we shared. On our second day there, a stray dog named Luna that we had befriended was hit by a car across the street. Thanks to the caring nature of my peers and group leaders, shout out to Allison, who drove 5 hours to get Luna to the vet, Luna is now healthy and adopted in a loving home here in Winchester. It amazed me that we were able to come together as a group and make sacrifices for the greater good, which in this case was saving a dog's life. I am so proud of all the members of WCG, especially the seniors who are graduating this year. We have all worked to seize opportunities during our years in high school, and standing here, I can confidently say that each and every one of you are going to have amazing futures. As we prepare to embark on our individual paths, I can hold on to memories and lessons we have defined together. I hope to uphold our covenant in my personal life for years to come, and remember to uplift those around me. Thanks to WCG, I will always value the power of empathy, the importance of integrity, and the beauty in diversity. This is not our final step, but rather the end of our beginning. Thank you. Please stay seated to sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Hi guys, my name is Anya Lesperance and I'm a senior in WCG, and I've been here for the past 4 years. And I remember 2 years ago, my first time hearing the senior statements, and I was like, oh my God, I love to talk. This is gonna be so much fun. And actually, it's really not that fun. I'm kind of nervous, but it's okay. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story about something that happened a little bit ago that kind of made me realize why I value this community and this spirituality that I've learned through this community. So a few years ago, somebody that I thought was my best friend attacked me with some anti-Semitic remarks. Until then, I had never thought about what being Jewish meant. Growing up half Jewish was a special part of my identity. Celebrating both Hanukkah and Christmas was super fun because I got twice the presents. But I also only felt a partial Jewish identity, and that my Judaism was somehow incomplete. I didn't feel I had the right to identify as Jewish because I didn't have a bat mitzvah, and my dad was the Jewish one, which, if any of you guys know anything about Judaism, it's passed through the maternal lineage, so in Orthodox Judaism. But other Jews dismissed me when they found out these things, and I didn't really feel like I had a right to be part of this community. The pain I felt after my interaction with my friend really hurt more than just words. It was compounded because I let other people succeed in telling me who I was. And from now on, I don't want to let other people dictate my identity. From that point and after those words, I decided I wanted to grow closer to my Judaism. 2 years ago in 2022, when we first went to West Virginia, we were gone during Passover, which is my favorite holiday because I got to see all my cousins from my family, and we got to eat really weird stuff, and it's funny. So this being away from everybody during this really special part of my religious identity was really hard, so I decided to create my own Seder. We went to Stop and Shop and bought matzah and grape juice, and we all sat around the fire and ate and shared grape juice and matzah while I read the story of Passover. That fireside Seder marked a turning point, and from that point on, I realized that I really liked this part of my identity. That summer, my father and I traveled to Uzbekistan, and we visited a local silversmith where I brought a turquoise and green Star of David wrapped in silver. I'm not wearing that today because it doesn't match my outfit, but I would be if it did. I've worn that necklace so many times that the bottom point of the star bends backwards towards me. This year, on the service trip, I told everybody the story of the bigotry of my friend and how, in 2022, when we were celebrating that Seder, I was battling with my religious identity and feeling a belonging in spiritual communities. However, now, through learning about all the things about Unitarian Universalism and how its principles coincide with Reform Judaism, I've learned that I truly have an identity. I now have personal ownership of my identity through what I've learned through WCG as a community that celebrates differences and sees them as a force to grow together. In WCG, I never felt out of place because I was Jewish, and I learned that I could be a Unitarian Universalist Jew and proud to claim that identity. As I move beyond this church and go 20 minutes away in Waltham, Massachusetts, I know that I will be taking these values of Unitarian Universalists with me to Brandeis University, which is a very historically Jewish place, and I think that it's important to redefine what Judaism means and create and talk about it as a community that is welcoming and accepting, and I really want to bring towards that conversation. Thank you for everything that this group has done for me. I've learned a lot about myself, and I'm really happy and proud to be part of this amazing group of wonderful and creative people.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ryan McDowell, and I'm a senior. I have been a WCGer for 3 years and an RE teacher for 2 years. Time is so strange. I knew I was going to be in this position today, telling you this speech and all, but it just doesn't feel real. I could just stop time right now just to prevent all the seniors from leaving once again, but that hasn't worked for the past 2 years. I first found out about WCG at the beginning of my sophomore year by my therapist. He suggested joining because it was hard finding a community during the pandemic that I felt truly a part of. WCG is a unique community that includes people from all walks of life, such as actors who perform in plays, dancers who perform in plays, and directors who work on plays. But before I joined, I didn't know anyone who went to WCG, but I decided to go to the first meeting. When my mom dropped me off, I heard instantly Celia saying, "Ryan, are you joining WCG?" Followed by Sam trying to explain what I should do, while 5 seniors are now telling me what their favorite sugary drinks are, and 2 others were talking about the snacks on the table. That meeting was definitely overwhelming for me. After that initial shock, I found myself talking to Colette, who was at the time a senior. She noticed my puzzled expressions and introduced me to WCG piece by piece throughout the meeting, dispelling all the confusion that I had. At the beginning of the meeting, I felt like I was just an observer of WCG, trying to understand the dynamics of the meeting. But Colette opened up the gate and acted like an old friend who I haven't seen in years. I don't think I have told her enough that I'm really thankful that she was there for me during that meeting, because I don't think I would have come back if she wasn't there. And I wouldn't have gotten to know everyone here. After that fall retreat that year, I never really got to spend time with her because I felt more adjusted to the community, and I made a lot of other friends there. And before I knew it, she was leaving for college. WCG has taught me a lot, but the most important ones are, number 1, appreciating the moment, and number 2, accepting the end of that moment. Ironically enough, during my second meeting, I was asked, what superpower would I have? And I replied, manipulating time. It's not time travel, but instead like slowing and speeding up the present. I could ramble on this topic, but I'm probably not. But like deep down, I just wanted to hold on to good memories for longer. It's hard to process the end of a moment, and especially if there's potential for something more. And if there is a perfect moment in your life, it doesn't last long enough. WCG is such a rich community full of supportive and passionate people, and I wish I had more time to spend with all of them. I wish the spring's service trips would last longer than I expected, but they never do. And at the end of them, I get a tiny bit frustrated because I never get to do everything that I want to do there. I never got to watch sunrise with my friends. I never got to spend the time to appreciate the lake in West Virginia. I never got to watch the VHS tapes on about like obscure movies. I never got to do a final prank on the seniors after burying a baby doll's head. And I never got to find that baby doll's head 2 years after burying it. But I think that's the beauty of a week-long service trip. We have limited time there, so we need to value our experiences when working and when we're not working. On almost every single trip, I brought a disposable camera. And although I stole the whole thing of using disposable cameras from Riley, I think they pushed me to cherish the moment before it's too late. On a disposable camera, you can only take 28 shots. So you have to choose wisely when to use it before the moment passes. Most of the shots aren't the best, but the ones that are mean so much more than a quick click on my phone. I don't have them with me today, but I'll help visualize them for you. Imagine a sunny day and a small park near a road. On the bench, Allison and Sophia are smiling at the camera while petting 2 stray dogs that we found in West Virginia, Bannet and Luna. And now imagine a different photo where you see Maddie and I with 2 milkshakes giving 2 massive thumbs up in front of an almost finished deck. For the past hour, Maddie and I have been putting the planks on a wide deck in the scorching weather. We didn't have to do it, but we did really want to finish the project. And right when we stopped, everyone showed up with milkshakes, and there has never been a greater feeling in my life. Now let's visualize one more. At night, Rebecca and I are swinging from a swing set. I learned that if we lean back while the swing is swinging forward, it looks like we're upside down. So after a few attempts, we got a photo of us in the dark that looks like we're floating upside down. Now that we are reaching the end of my speech, I again feel the impulse to fight against time, but no matter what, none of us can win against time. So remember to appreciate what you have before it's gone to the very fullest, because it might never come back. And if it's gone, then be grateful that you at least have it and have the memories of it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hannah McQuan. I've been part of WCG for 4 years, and this past year I've been an RE teacher for Neighboring Faiths. I'm heading off to Washington University in St. Louis in the fall. Go Bears! I was not raised religious. My parents never really caring enough to introduce me to it and skip our tradition of pancakes every Sunday morning. But I loved singing as a child. So when I was 8, I joined the children's chorale at the Winchester Unitarian Society and was taught by the wonderful and talented John Kramer. I sat every Tuesday night in this church and learned Honey in the Rock and Simple Gifts over and over again. I only ever really went to Sunday services when the chorale had a performance, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, I snuck out the back the second the performance was done. But then, one Sunday, almost exactly 4 or 5 years ago, I remember this distinctly. I was sitting way in the back, where my parents are now, and a bunch of teenagers came up to this podium and started speaking. And one of them, I remember being Will McPhee, who was a family friend at the time, and he described the most wondrous, magical group where he was loved and accepted unconditionally. He said there were days when he was maybe feeling lazy or tired, but he still forced himself out of bed and to the church. And after every meeting with the group, he always was glad that he had chosen to come. I knew then that this was the thing for me. And WCG was a strange name, but it just sounded too good to be true. The next 4 years passed so quickly I can barely believe it. And I've had the chance to experience growing into young adulthood through meeting every Sunday for 2 hours in a messy room full of couches and love, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The greatest gift this church has given me is a beginning, almost a leaping off point for my journey of spirituality. It's not something I ever really considered part of my identity, being spiritual, until recently. But to me, being spiritual isn't about believing in a higher power or God necessarily, but more being aware of the values I hold close and then acting on them in daily situations or in greater life goals. I actually don't know if that's what spirituality is. I'm going to check with Reverend Heather after this, though. Something that I remember when I think about my spirituality is we do an activity every fall retreat where we're given this big list of values, and we have to narrow them down to our top 5, top 10, or top 3 values. And we do this every year, and it's a reminder to be reflective and to think about what we hold close, and also to see how we've grown, because we can look back on the values we've done from years past. This most recent year, my values were passion, loving, and independence. And this past year, I've been trying to show it. I try to show passion through my art. I make things that I love and things that I have an intrinsic motivation to make or create. I try to show love for my friends and my family through gift giving and acts. And I've been starting to try to advocate for myself and take on leadership roles in situations where I can, to show my independence, to show what I can do for myself. I'm glad that WCG has encouraged me to be introspective and think critically about the way that I want to impact the world. We have a point in our covenant this year that talks about how we will balance reverence and irreverence during our time together. Every moment of giggles and jokes or irreverence is something that I will cherish, but I'm indefinitely more grateful for our moments of reflection and peace together. These are the moments that inspire my spirituality. Beyond my spirituality in this environment, I'm kind of excited to explore religion outside of these walls, but I'm so glad that I got to have my beginning here. I've already done some light Googling on Unitarian churches in St. Louis, so I will be checking those out come fall. This youth group has also given me a sense of self-confidence and belonging that I never could have dreamed of having at 18. I thought I would be terrified to move to college, to move across the country, to meet so many new people, but I'm not. Another memory that I have very specifically is also about Coco. During one of the first meetings, we were having lunch, and I didn't really know anyone. I was sitting off to the side, and Coco very pointedly said, "Hannah, come sit with us." And I remember that still because it was practicing a principle that we've learned about in WCG called radical inclusion. It's really important to me, and it's something I've written a couple college essays about, so I've had to think about it a lot. But it's something I want to bring forward into the world, into my life in college. I'm not scared of meeting all those new people or finding a community because I know that I can. I have that confidence in myself to invite people to sit with me or to join others, even if I don't know them, and start a conversation. And from this group, I'm grateful I've not only learned from the adults around me, but also my peers who inspire me every day. In the future, what a big scary word, I want to work towards making a positive impact in the world. It could be through healthcare or law or local government or international government. I really couldn't say, so don't ask me. But the Unitarian principle of justice will serve as my backbone to my motivation, and our service projects have given me a spark. It has been a wild 4 years, but standing here today, I can confidently say that Will McPhee got it right. Completely correct. Every day I choose to spend with these funny, generous, bright, and joyful people has been a good day. I have danced with them, played games with them, built porches and ramps, laughed, cried, and checked in, and I've grown to love each and every one of them. These 4 years have been good years because of the community. I am, and forever will be, a better person because of the guidance, support, and love you all have blessed me with. And now I have to do 2 really, really quick thank yous. To John Kramer for endless, truly endless patience with us kids. I don't know how you did it, but you did. I have to admit, I did not stay in choir for the past 10 years because I aspired to be a professional singer or because I love Hallelujah. I stayed because of John, because of his kindness and his incredible, infectious enthusiasm for the beauty of music. Thank you for all of it, and I'm so glad I got to grow up with you. To Sam and Allison, but especially Allison for this past year, thank you for showing me what a leader is. You are the role models I have looked up to and the people I aspire to reflect in the future. I want to be a leader in the new communities I will find, and I will always refer back to your wisdom, respect, and love that you have shown me. Thank you.
Our community is self-supporting, meaning we take in financial responsibility for our needs, but we also believe in sharing gifts. Our weekly spiritual practice is giving 1/2 of all of our donations to organizations living out Unitarian Universalist values. This morning, we share our gifts with Big Creek People in Action, the organization that WCG recently worked with in West Virginia on our service trip. BCPIA has been serving the community of McDowell County in realms of education and literacy, leadership development, volunteer service, service learning, arts and culture, housing, recreation, and collaborative partnerships. BCPIA's version of McDowell County is one of empowered and self-sufficient people living in communities that are economically vibrant, democratic, and socially just. They were also just awesome hosts to us, and we really helped have a magical and transformative week together. Here are the different ways you could donate. Those in the sanctuary may give cash, checks, or donate electronically. Text the number in your order of service or visit the website under the giving page. If you are visiting for the first time, either online or in person, you are a guest today, so today's worship is on the house. In-person attendees can find a physical visitor card in the pew racks in front of you. Please complete it and put it in the collection plate in lieu of a donation. Information about how you can give online and how to complete the virtual visitor card will soon be shared with the live stream attendees through the text on your screen. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation. We gather not for ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build the beloved community within and beyond these walls. We create and reaffirm this covenant this day to make justice flourish, to practice compassion amidst difference, and to embody transformative love.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me all right? My name is Celia Oslakovic, and I'm a graduating senior this year. I'm not going to lie, I've had a pit in my stomach when writing this speech. It's been very difficult for me, and I never really understood why. I've seen my brother and a lot of my friends do the same thing. Oh my God. Yeah, so many people have done this before me, and I've spoken to the congregation before, and I don't know, something about this is different. Because I've grown up in this church. This has been my home. I've been here every Sunday for I don't even know how long. And some of my fondest memories are here. And coming to church on Sunday mornings for RE was a highlight of everything. Our head teacher then, her name was Rebecca, and the story she would tell would just capture you and invite you in. And I looked up to her. She was the most inspiring person, and she was so, I don't know. Yeah. And she taught me so much about the world around me and how to embody UU values, even before I knew exactly what UU values were. I feel incredibly lucky to have grown up here because the Winchester Unitarian Society is a special place. This sanctuary celebrates every single person for who they are, and I'm so happy to have been a part of this community through my many involvements here, like teaching RE and being a part of WCG. Being an RE teacher is one of my favorite things in the world. I've been a RE teacher for 2 years in the nursery. And something about coming back and coming back here to where I was really touched me. And it's something I've always wanted to do, and I'm so glad I've done it. And since I was little, I always looked up to the teens in WCG. And wanted to be just like them. My brother, who's 2 years older than me, so by the time I was able to join WCG, he was a senior. And he would rant about how amazing this group was and how much I was missing out on because I wasn't in it. So I was so excited to join. And when I first joined, the community of WCG was just... It struck out to me because I'd never seen anything like it before. Actually, I have in dance, and my dance friend, Izzy, was my really close dance friend, and I knew since she was there and my brother was there, it was going to be a really special place, and I felt very, very welcome. And I was really excited to meet everyone else, all of the new people that I had never known before, and oh my gosh. Yeah, this is a really special group, and I'm very grateful to have been a part of it. Together, we used our combined strengths to do really impactful service work projects. Like when we went to West Virginia, I've been there twice, once sophomore year, once senior year. And those service trips really inspired me to help people. And that kind of ties into what I'm going to do in the future. I want to work in the healthcare industry, specifically engineering products to help people. Because when we worked on this ramp my sophomore year, and we were working with construction tools, and I was a little nervous because it was like heavy machinery. But the second I saw everything, I was like, I just want to do everything. Like, I want to help out in any way that I can. And the process of coming from, like, we had to dig the holes in the ground to put the posts in, like, from the ground up, like, we built this ramp together to help a family get outside. And we did that, something like that this year. We built a bathroom in somebody's house who, he didn't have a bathroom. And we insulated the entire room. We didn't do the actual plumbing, but we drilled the holes for the plumbing, and so once the parts came in, they could just set it up right away, and it's so easy for them. And that really inspired me. I want to do that sort of problem-solving work to get to actually make a change and help people in their lives. And this community really, really fostered that for me, and it made it really clear that that's what I want to do with my future. So yeah, I'll be heading off to the University of Wisconsin in Madison to study biomedical engineering, which is something in the fall, as some of you know from my last speech here, I didn't think I was going to get in anywhere, and I didn't think I'd be able to study this, and to think that I could do that now is beyond me, and I'm very excited. And I've learned through WSCG that I'm going to make the most of every moment. I will make the most of my time there, and I will meet so many amazing people that I'm so excited to meet and do amazing work that I'm very excited to do. So yeah, thank you for being this amazing community. Thank you to everyone in this church. You are all amazing people. And yeah, thank you for making this place the place that it is.
Please forgive me, Joni Mitchell makes me very emotional. My name is Riley Simpson, and if there's one thing I've learned in my 4 years at the Winchester Unitarian Society, it's that Unitarian Universalism roughly is about 90% washing dishes and 10% everything else. And to clear the air, I love washing dishes, so. Seriously, my favorite part of all of the fundraisers here is working to clean up all the dishes. Somehow there's this natural shift in how this congregation gathers and celebrates together and then seamlessly transitions into all helping each other clean up. I was at the chili cook-off and everyone started cleaning up. Somehow my brother got roped into cleaning up. It was so fun. But it's that type of, gathering and welcoming together that has made me feel so loved for the past 4 years. But although this place has felt like it's always been my home, I was only introduced to WUSH my freshman year. It was the biggest butterfly effect, but one single text saying, hey, there's this weird youth group having a Zoom meeting that starts in a minute, you should come, led me to be standing here today saying a very heartfelt goodbye to my favorite place. I didn't grow up UU, and for a little while, it felt like I was a little bit of an outsider to the group just because I hadn't grown up this way. While kids here grew up with the solstice spiral and lighting the chalice, I was very busy being an altar server at my Catholic church and memorizing all of the patron saints, and I still know all of them. But the pandemic and my own discovery of my queer identity forced me to reassess where my beliefs and values lay. I call it a blessing in disguise, as it led me from feeling disconnected with my faith to feeling more connected than ever through Unitarian Universalism. My introduction to WSCG freshman year wasn't just the fun connection with a group of teens that I was craving during this isolation. Instead, I felt so accepted talking about my queer identity the same feeling that I felt singing my favorite songs in my Catholic church, and it was almost wholly declaring my identity in a worship space. I didn't feel like I had to hide or be ashamed of my identity. For the first time, I had a community that really supported me and saw me as whole. It's that feeling that's carried with me through WSCG all the way to my senior year. And I've made the best of friends here, although to me, they're more like my family. My first service trip with with WSCG to West Virginia, my sophomore year, was the biggest leap of faith I had ever made in my life. I'm the type of person that likes to stay holed up in my room all day long, so leaving 15 hours from home was, as you could have guessed, incredibly scary for sophomore year me. However, the seniors and upperclassmen welcomed me with the most open arms and biggest smiles, and by the end of the trip, I knew I belonged not only on that trip, but with the group. On one of our last nights in West Virginia that year, when everyone was going around and telling personal and deep stories about their life, I took a deep breath and was more vulnerable than I had ever been before. Through a shaky voice and some tears, I was able to express how that trip and that group made me so incredibly anxious, but changed me in ways I never thought possible. They had pushed me beyond my limits and introduced me to a new version of myself I never thought I would meet. Someone once told me that you'll forget what they said and what they did, but you'll remember how they made you feel. And the only feeling I felt being surrounded by the biggest group hug after sharing with the group was loved. Without that one moment, that one night around the fire pit, that one hug from the whole group, I probably would never have had the confidence to stand up here today and speak to all of you. Really, I would have never had the confidence to begin stepping out of my childhood shell and into an independent young adult life. These high school years have been pretty crazy and have been marked with the biggest changes in my life. So to look back and say that it's all in the past now is really incredible. From joining this church to switching from public to private school, joining my band, traveling abroad, choosing a college to attend, and everything in between, it's been WCG that's been the rock throughout my life. They taught me how to walk into my life with my head held high, and I hope that I can leave a lasting impact here, much like the seniors who have come before me. My only hope is to be like the ones who inspired me in West Virginia, and that big group hug. But being able to return to West Virginia allowed me to see not just how much I had grown from a shy and very scared sophomore to a very loud and proud senior, but made me so proud of each and every other senior around me and how they have changed. Everyone here has grown into such kind and caring young adults, and I'm honored to be here with them. These are the first people I look for in a crowd and some of the most inspiring people I've ever met. Next year, I'll be attending Bryn Mawr College in Philadelphia. Go Owls. I hope to study abroad, maybe in the Netherlands, be a part of the performing arts scene, eat a Philly cheesesteak, and explore that all a new city and environment has to offer. I'm not sure of what I'll study. Maybe linguistics, film, religion, music, but I know that whatever I'll do it with the love and confidence that has bloomed from WCG's love and care throughout my 4 years here. To be honest, I really never had a clear view about my future. It's always too foggy to see or too far away to reach, and oftentimes it feels like the present is too hard to even think about looking ahead for me. I used to believe that someday I would be someone that would inspire the others around her, to be able to look into the mirror and truly see myself, and would someday be someone I was proud of. If WCG has taught me anything, it's that I am someone. I'm already the person that I've been waiting to become my whole life. It's why I've loved being a religious education teacher, being on YAC, cleaning dishes, working with the youngest youth in the society to ensure that this church is as warm and welcoming of a space as it has been for me. It's why I love spending time on our fall retreats, service trips, and any church event, helping in the kitchen once the party's over. If I can give back in any way to everyone here in this congregation for making this place my home for my high school years, I'll do it one fork at a time. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Rebecca, and I've been a member of WCG for 4 years, beginning during COVID on Zoom with my sibling, Marina. I've been an RE teacher for the past 2 years, and I'm a member of the congregation. And I can't believe it's time to make a senior statement after years of hearing them and looking up to each graduating class. And after listening to all of the other statements the seniors have made today that have made me cry. And so to start, as a child, I was always super extroverted, and my family would joke about just how easy it was for me to make friends, like anywhere I went. But as I went through middle school and in and out of the pandemic, I lost some of the extroverted part of my personality and became more reserved and less of a social butterfly, more likely to enjoy a quiet movie night over a larger gathering. I felt increasingly self-conscious about how I looked, what people thought of me, and whether I fit in enough, that it was easiest to retain my old friends and avoid meeting new people if possible. But one of the biggest gifts WCG has given me is relearning how to open up to people and form incredibly deep connections. I will never forget the first time I went to McDowell County, West Virginia on a service trip with WCG 2 years ago. I felt this instant connection and sense of belonging with everyone, which was especially valuable coming out of quarantine. As a small group of fellow WCGers and I worked on painting a porch, We discussed anything and everything that was on our minds, asking and answering deep questions without fear of anxiety or judgment. Painting that porch and the entire West Virginia trip is my fondest memory of high school. Throughout that trip, we continued to get closer and closer. We stayed up one night until 3 a.m. watching a TV show called Gravity Falls on someone's phone, all of us curled up on one couch, and I remember feeling so safe. Before that trip, hugs had always been something that left me feeling uncomfortable and awkward, but at the end of the trip, I was so happy to give all of my friends a big hug after finally getting off the bus. And side note, I think that the 28 hours we spent in buses and cars together might have been the biggest bonding factor of them all, because you learn everything about a person. And one of the biggest themes to come out of that trip for me was spreading love. To me, this phrase perfectly encapsulates WSEG in the simplest form. The way the seniors showed so much love to me on that trip, I try to show love to all the people around me, especially the current underclassmen in WSEG, who I'm going to miss so dearly next year. I carried my love to service trips to the quiet corner of Connecticut, then back to West Virginia a second time to take part in more service work that included building a ramp, a deck, and a bathroom. And I will carry my love with me to Burlington, Vermont in the fall, as I start as a freshman at the University of Vermont. WSEG showed me how to share my love with other people, but it also truly helped me to learn to love myself, flaws and all. To quote the song by Ben Abraham, "Make my love like a circle, no beginning and no end."
At this time, we invite all of our bridging seniors to come forward for our bridging ceremony. Bring your orders of service or your scripts with you, please.
This is a profound moment each year, the ceremony in which we honor our youth transitioning from childhood to becoming young adults. This is a time of joy as we celebrate that these beloved young people in our lives are beginning a new chapter. And it's a time of loss, as childhood will never come again. And for some of our young people, their ascent into adulthood means leaving this community, at least for a time. We are forever blessed by the community of youth known as WSEG. And as we will soon hear Sam illustrate, each member of the group has offered individual gifts to the group and this congregation. This is a time of grieving, of joy, and of gratitude.
So I listed a whole bunch of things that you guys did together, but we're running super late. You mentioned a lot of them in your things, and you know exactly what you did. You cried, you laughed, you hugged, you did all sorts of awesome things. So we're just going to skip to the individual part here, the better part. If we can get Anya's picture up. All right. Anya, so who knew you were such an amazing artist? Oh my goodness, you did such an awesome mural in West Virginia for us with the hands. You're also so passionate about social justice, and you're unafraid to be yourself and speak your mind. You have such a unique curiosity and a bravery to say what you don't know, but ask the questions that others are afraid to. You always offer to be the ambassador on our trips, which makes total sense since you do Mata UN, and I just know that you're going to change the world. Also, you can fit a whole bunch of marshmallows in your mouth, as we can see there. Celia, you have been an RE teacher and a nursery helper. As you can see there, you're always down to take one for the team. And best ox takeover ever. As we all know, Celia, you're super sweet. You ask me how I am, and you treat me like another person, not just like a grown-up or something, which is really nice. And yeah, well, I already said team player, down for whatever with the whipped cream. You also jumped in my dad's pool a couple years ago. I I know sometimes you cry and you get emotional, but I think that you're emotional in the very best way. And you care about what's happening and everyone around you, so don't stop. Hannah. Hannah was one of our leadership co-coordinators this year in our new leadership structure, which is pretty awesome. You have that take charge attitude that will serve you for years to come. You're very authentic. You don't suffer fools. I feel like there's times when, like, I'm doing something I'm having you guys do something kind of stupid, and you're like, why are we doing this? And I appreciate your honesty there. You also have an amazing sense of style and fashion and creativity. Your caricatures and drawings of people are amazing. Also, it totally makes sense that you are the natural angel there. But we also know you have another side, hashtag Hannah Rex Havoc. But yeah, ultimately, just really appreciate your leadership, especially in the past couple of years on YAC, as well as RE and Neighboring Faiths. We can always count on you. Isaac, I am so glad that you decided to join WSTG later. You're super helpful. You're always down to do whatever. You helped fix the TV last year, I remember. You helped with the sound here. You're always down to be like the tall guy who will do that thing up there, or a guy with axe, as we see here. You're hilarious, and I think you've perhaps grown and blossomed more than anyone else up here. So authentically yourself in such an amazing way. It makes me so happy. So, also live stream coordinator. So thanks for that. Larkin. Larkin, I feel like you're just like my buddy. Like we chat sometimes and it's cool, which is really nice. Also, I recruited you from Fair Beach for a reason. I don't like tell everyone to come here. You have very chill vibes. You dove right in without knowing anybody and emerged victorious and so completely integrated into the group, despite not going to Winchester High School. You were actually in like several of the picks up here with other people, not surprisingly, because you're always like down to just jump in and be a team player. Also, thanks for being an RE teacher and coming to YAC meetings. Maddie, one thing we learned about you in West Virginia was how much of an extreme animal lover you are and fierce advocate, and that's so amazing. I also trust you more than anyone in the kitchen. You're a great cook. Your brilliant combo of sweet and caring, but also kind of sassy sometimes. So sarcastically hilarious, you make me cry laughing. Also, I just remember, like, you're such a sweetheart. When I returned from my sabbatical, you gave me like a big hug, and so you're just very nice and thoughtful in every way. Rebecca. Rebecca, I feel like you really get me. Like sometimes we're like our eyes catch and we're just on the same page. You know exactly what I'm talking about. As like right now. You also always like respond to my emails and you like always know what's going on, and I really appreciate that. You know, such a clear moral compass. Like it's very clear you want to do the right thing. And I love how you're a fun combination of kind of reserved but also brave at the same time. And a brilliant RE teacher, a brilliant knitter, as we can see up there, and dancer, and like all these different skills, even though you're so humble at the same time. And what you said in Riley's capstone really filled my heart in the best ways. Speaking of Riley's capstone, Riley did a capstone project for her senior year that really lifted my soul. It was based on youth and religion, and she has a burning passion for religion that's really unique and frankly inspiring. Also one of the leadership co-coordinators, and your notes at the different retreats always make me cry. So thank you for writing those and giving those to me. You know who you are and do you, even if it goes against the grain, so bravely authentic in such an admirable way. Also, YAC member with the best attendance, amazing RE teacher, super reliable. You've been like a real rock in WSTG since day one, and it won't be the same without you. Ryan, last but not least. Ryan, I could not just choose one picture for you. There were so many. So no one will be surprised. It's funny because I remember meeting you as well. You were so shy that day, and now you're the biggest ham and goofball who brings so much fun to the group. Obviously not surprising, I couldn't choose one picture for you. I did not have any great pictures from your baby shower, but that was a highlight of our time together. Ryan had a pregnancy. And yeah, that was ridiculous, and you just rolled with it, and you're kind of amazing at doing that. It's so apt, I feel like, that you have golden retrievers, because like you kind of are one. You just like make everyone happy, you're sweet, you smile. Just ultimately like a real sweetheart, very helpful. I can always ask you to do something and you do it with a big smile on your face. And you're just an excellent male role model, an RA teacher and nursery provider, and just ridiculous in the best way. So, there we go. It's not okay that you guys are all leaving this year. But yes, okay, so now we have our children down the center of the aisle who will be giving you several flowers as you bridge to show that while you will always have roots in this community, we're also proud and excited to see how you blossom beyond it. And moving back a bit here, we wanted to share how each of you has shown a commitment to social justice, service work, and genuine devotion to making a positive dent in the world, which is a testament to this community, your families, and you. We are so proud of you. We love you all so much. We will miss you so, so much. Please, no, but actually, please come back and visit us next year.
Part of this bridging tradition recognizes that you're not simply leaving WUS, but rather you're bridging into a new period of your life, young adulthood. Welcome, as the official young adult representative. The UU Association of Congregations recognizes young adults as those who are aged 18 to 35. I would now invite those of you who are gathered here who are between the ages of 18 and 35 to rise and walk to the back of the sanctuary and stand on either side of the entryway so you don't block those who are sitting in the Sims room. Please bring your orders of service and one of the teal hymnals. And I'm so excited to see that there are so many young adults this year. Last year, I was the only young adult. So, yay, young adults. Seniors, we want you to know that there's still a home for you here at this congregation, always. And also a home for you as young adult UUs, or at least young adults with UU leanings, in the larger world.
So to help remind you of this, we're gifting each one of you a small travel chalice and dorm-friendly electric tea light so that WCG and our love can stay close to your heart wherever the beginning of the next part of your life takes you. We're also gifting you one of mine, Allison's favorite books, Becoming, which is a UU spiritual guide for navigating young adulthood. Choose for guidance in this next stage. Plus a chalice keychain and a chalice temporary tattoo so you can show off who you are and what your values are to everyone you meet along the way. Now, to honor this important moment, please turn to your orders of service to read our bridging affirmations to one another as the seniors, congregation, and young adults. See. Here's the gifts that you have shared during your time here. We honor your dreams and your visions for who you will become. We encourage you to hold your roots close to your hearts as we set you free to spread your wings.
We welcome you with open arms into this next stage of your lives. We know it is simultaneously exciting and terrifying, but we are here to sway in these winds of change with you. We are with you as you reach the end of the beginning part of your lives, and in turn, begin the next part of your lives. Welcome to young adulthood.
All right, so momentarily we will begin the bridging ritual. This year the congregation will be singing the closing hymn while the seniors bridge, and then the 8th graders will join us at the front with Wussy G. So at this time, whoops, just kidding, you're already here, so I'm not gonna invite you to do that. I'm gonna ask seniors, Wussy Gers who aren't seniors to grab a teal hymnal or an order of service and come on up here to join your friends for one last time before they officially become young adults. So everyone else is going to be singing Fire of Commitment. The words are in your order of service, or they're in the teal hymnal number 1028. And you are all now invited to move toward the middle of the room and create a bridge down the center aisle for your seniors to walk through toward the young adults. So folks on this side of the center aisle want to stand up and go like this. Folks on this side of the center aisle go like this. Then everyone else kind of move forward and go toward the center, placing your hands, like one hand on each other's shoulder with consent as you feel comfortable. One hand holding your lyrics. So we want all of our love and energy focused toward the center of the room and the bridge that the seniors will be going through. If you're watching from home, you can send energy with spirit fingers through the screen. That would be great. All right, so now momentarily, when everyone's ready, John will begin playing the hymn, and we will sing, and our seniors will walk through, getting flowers from our children, and then hugs from our young adults. Then the 8th graders will come up here and get welcomed by the remaining Wussy Gers.
Congratulations. Welcome to Young Adulthood, Bridging Seniors. Again, so excited to welcome you into this stage of life. And welcome to Wussy G, to our 8th graders who will be coming and joining us next year.
Now to everyone, as we reach the end of this service, we in turn reach the beginning of the rest of our lives. May we go forth and live lives that represent our collective values of justice, equity, and generosity. Lives where we learn from one another, embrace our differences, and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect toward our collective transformation and liberation. And most of all, may our lives be full of love. And may that love be like a circle, no beginning and no end. Amen.
Please now read together the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.